Welcome back to True Story with John Gibson. Today's guest is a very special guest. I swear sometimes it's God or the universe, but things come together. And for our 100th episode, I could not be more pleased and honored to have the godfather of ground and pound, UFC Hall of Famer, Pride Grand Prix champion, USA Wrestling Olympian, Mark the Hammer Coleman.
Oh, thank you, John. I'm glad I was able to do this because I really don't. I haven't been doing a whole lot of interviews. I don't know why. I don't have no reason, but I just don't do them. But your 100th episode, so and you're a big fan of mine. I appreciate that. So I'm glad we got this happening. We had to figure out this 2022 Zoom call.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still old school, man. We got it figured out.
We got it together, man. And my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure, truly. Mark and I were just talking a little bit offline, and I'd love to kind of share the conversation with the greater world here too. But I don't know that enough people are aware of this man's actual amateur Olympic wrestling background and his credentials. I think a lot of people know about his Ohio State affiliation stuff and him and Kevin Randleman, some great people that came through that program. But this man is a multiple Pan Am champion, a FILA world champion, Olympic world team member. So Mark, I mean, with all of that, you had this amazing athletic career before you ever the UFC, or we knew you from that or Pride. How did you find the wrestling room?
How did I find it?
Yeah, how did you get started wrestling? Was it as a junior or?
Hey, I kind of knew when I was 5 years of it. When I was a young kid, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be one of the best athletes in the world. Sports. That's what I wanted, and that was my way to. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be known. I wanted to be known as a badass.
Yeah, you got it.
Not only did I want to, I wanted to be a NFL football player, Olympic wrestler, a pro baseball player. I wanted to be all three of those. But on top of it, I knew that size and bigger people mattered. I didn't like having to, a bigger person could tell a little kid what to do. So I was all about getting bigger and stronger and faster at a very young age. So I can remember I was doing push-ups at 5 years of age. I could do 100 in a row because I remember because my uncle would come over and he'd give me a penny a push-up for how many I could do in a row. So wow. And that's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. One thing I'm a fan, I'm a hardcore, I'm a hardcore fan. And I've always wondered, one thing I've noticed is that, you it seems like had support with your parents and everything growing up wrestling, but your father would corner you all the way through Pride and stuff like that. Were they always really supportive of your athletic career?
Yeah, it was, in hindsight, it was amazing. They never missed a baseball game. They never missed a wrestling match. They never missed a football game. And when I say never, they might have missed once in a long time. But right. Honestly, I was wrestling in Istanbul, Bulgaria, and I had no clue my parents were coming. There's no way they're going to make it there. We were pretty poor. And sure enough, my mom's got a voice of God. She got a voice and the next thing you know, I'm over there and it's wrestling. So the stands weren't packed.
Right.
So I also heard somebody yelling my name, Mark, and then 100 times louder than that, Mark. And son of a man, I looked up and there's my mom and dad. Amazing. They supported me man. I get goosebumps. They're still here. I still have my mom and dad here, and I'm just so blessed. But they went everywhere. They made it to the Olympics, which was wonderful because my whole town came together and they did a fundraisers and stuff to help get my family there. So my family got to be there. My brothers and sisters, some nieces or some nephews, and it really, I ended up taking 7th, and that was not the plan. That was not the goal. And that's not what I was selfish. I wanted everything. I wanted to be the best. And when it didn't happen, I did lose it for a while. I mean, I was just fed up. I was just tired of that grind.
Yes.
But I still wanted more, but I didn't want to work for it as hard. So I missed probably the 3 best years of my life as an athlete. I missed it after the Olympics. I stayed out of the wrestling room for 3 years, two and a half years. Wow. But I never missed a weight room session. So I kept getting bigger and stronger. But I just stayed up the mats. And all of 1993 and 1994, that was probably my athletic prime.
Wow.
1995. Those 3 years, quite honestly, I was experimenting with alcohol and drugs and not doing the right things, but I had to get through that stage to get to where I am today.
Of course. Yeah. It made you who you are. And honestly, you're such an amazing example. And we'll get to all that. And we'll get to it too. But, growing up as somebody who came up through cadet wrestling and knew who you were then, and then discovered the UFC, and you're the godfather of ground and pound. I had never seen anything like you. I'm like, I got to be that guy. That's what I want to be. And then later on the life, like the man you are today, let's go, has nothing to do with your athletic career. Like the father you are to your girls, the way you've spoken up for some other wrestlers in the past and other things that you've been involved with. Man, you redefine bravery to me. Like it used to be that guy kills people in the cage. He's so scary. No, like you're actually a great man, and you've really matured, and you're someone that I'm really happy that I've been able to look at you as a teenager, someone in my 20s and a grown man, and still be able to look up to you as an example, and that has nothing to do about the athletic stuff. It started there. So man, when you won the Pride Grand Prix, I cried. Wow. I did. Man, you were because you were going through such a hard time in your career, and I was like a loyal Coleman fan, Yeah. And then all of a sudden that tournament just kept working out, and then boom, it was like a movie. It felt like a movie.
It wasn't the tournament that it worked out. It worked out because I never doubted myself after the Marie Smith loss. Most humbling night of my life. So needed. But I didn't doubt that I was still the best in the world. I just knew I didn't put in the time and effort to be that man that night. So he humbly whooped my ass. And then the Pete Williams fight, I tore my ACL 2 weeks after the Marie Smith fight. The first day back training, I tore my ACL. That was my first significant injury, and that took. And I was a mess, man. I couldn't handle that defeat to Marie Smith. It ate me alive, man. It was embarrassing, so embarrassing. I let so many people down. And so I rushed myself back into the cage 5 months after surgery, and I definitely did not feel, not a place I wanted to be. I did not want to be in that cage that night, man. And I knew I didn't have it, and it showed. But to be able to get up from that kind of kick, I love that. I'm not gonna lie. I did have, after the Pete Williams kick, I did have some doubt. A lot of doubts were coming into my head, and I was starting to think that maybe I just got old overnight. I heard that saying, and I thought, damn, Coleman, you're 32 years old and you're old. But I found out I was having a thyroid issue. With thyroid controls the whole body. I just didn't have it. And then, the doctor took some blood, got me on some medication, and I could feel my engine kick back on. And I had a pretty decent training camp for Pedro Hizo, but I was in that cage that night with a lot of doubts in my mind because of the 2 losses. And I honestly was in that fight to not lose instead of trying to be the dominant Mark Coleman. I was in there trying to squeak out a 3-2 victory, which I think I did. I think I beat Pedro Hizo. I know I beat him, but
I agree. I think you won the
everything
fight.
Happens for a reason. Yeah. Everything happens for a reason, and they gave the decision to him. And after that fight, I was way down more after the Williams fight, but after the Hizzle fight, I knew I was okay. I just well, I got cut by the UFC, but so I was wondering what the hell I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then I got the phone call from Pride. I had to make some I had to do some things to get my contract, but I did them, and I can't change what I did, and
hey, no regrets.
I don't regret.
Yeah,
I
no
don't
regrets.
regret
It was a heck of a journey. You know, I've had other people on the show that fought in Pride, and you know, I was just a fan of this. It was a spectacle in the fight. Like, it was so big, and the crowd, and you know, it was just amazing to watch some of those fights and those. And again, the Grand Prix, the 2000 Grand Prix was awesome. Your fight with Igor, whoa. Oh man, talk about a terrifying fight. What was that like?
Well, going into that tournament, I had 8 months where I got off the booze. I didn't do it. I mean, I've had problems with alcohol my whole life, but 8 months. I had an 8-month training camp where I was the coach. I was my own coach, man. I made myself do this stuff, but I had an 8-month camp where everything went well, man. I felt young again, and I knew for a long time that I was gonna sneak back in and shut everybody up, you know. But it did come together towards the end of the camp. I called Pat Miletich up, and I asked him if I come out there and finish up for the last 3 weeks of my camp. But I showed up at Miletich's in shape. He brought me together the final 3 weeks, and he found out what I can and can't do. And we went in there, and I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was just not surprised at all that I won that bitch. But Pride did not want me to win that. I was the last person on that card they wanted to win, and they did everything they could to stop me. People don't know this, but it was supposed to be a 20-minute time limit in the final. So do the math, 20-minute timeline. I'm going to take him down, and I'm going to pound the crap out of him for 20. And I'm going to be the champ. And then all of a sudden they said, no knee and a guy in the head on the ground. Well, that's exactly what I planned on doing to win this damn fight. But they said, you can knee a guy in the head on the ground if he's on his back. So think about that. How in the hell are you going to get somebody on their back? I was like, belly down, right?
Yeah, very hard.
It just truly everything did come to place. I made it come into place, but it did fall together pretty nice. But then they say it's a no time limit. So no time limit. How in the hell am I going to finish the great Igor Vovchanchyn, who can go for hours? He's already proven he can go for hours. So I wasn't sure how I was going to win that fight, but and quite honestly, I thought maybe it's going to last couple hours.
Wow.
You know, I really thought, and I was ready. Mark Coleman's not known for his conditioning. That's my own fault because I showed up unprepared a lot of times. But when Mark Coleman is prepared, I was ready to go for a fucking hour that night.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you won it, and no one will ever take it away from you. I mean, that's in the history books. It was amazing. I mean, you know, I felt like, and again, as a fan, to me, I don't know if people here in the States know, but like you were a pretty big star there too, right? Didn't you do like Gillette commercials and stuff like that?
Oh, I was probably more famous in Japan than I was here, no doubt about it.
That's crazy.
Pride just dominated Japan. They had Fuji TV, which is as big as ESPN here. Fuji TV, they were their main sponsors. So anywhere you went, any place you went and the TV was on, you would basically see Pride or some kind of martial arts.
Amazing.
Pro wrestling, Pride, K1. These were on the TVs like soap operas are here.
Wow. Totally different culture, or at least it was back then. Amazing. I wish I could have been there to see it. You know, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I was blessed. very, very. Me and Randleman just, yeah, we were incredibly grateful. We went from flying extremely coach class to wrestling tournaments, and then stuffing 4 guys into 1 bedroom,
right,
1 hotel room. We went from that to flying first class to Japan. We just looked at each other and thought we were in heaven, man. It was
right,
it was up because the poor sport of wrestling, it's getting its due now, but man, the greatest, toughest sport in the world, but we got nothing but pride.
It's true. That's what. Well, at the end of the day, we have that forever, though.
Damn right. That's what's most important. That's what. You offer me $1 million. And this dude can whoop your ass in the streets, or he gets the $1 million and I can whoop his ass. I'd rather be the toughest guy in the streets.
100%. At the end of the day, I agree. At the end of the day, yeah. So
I'll take both, though. I'll take the $1 million and the ass whooping.
Well, there you go. Exactly. Well, you are a prize fighter, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me ask. I wanted to ask you this too. Again, just as a fan who followed your whole career, was it really great, or was it nice for you to experience the Ultimate Fighter and give you an opportunity to coach those youngsters and go more full circle?
That was 10 of the best weeks of my life, man. I remember that in detail because I had just come off hip replacement surgery, so I was really, really down. At my fight career, even though I was 44, I was still very competitive. I felt like I was still going to fight for years, but I was having major hip pain. But I just fight through it. But my doctor convinced me to have a surgery, and I regretted having that surgery because I didn't have to have it, but he made it sound like I did. And once I realized, and once I got it, my fight career is over because you just, now you can't do it with a fake hip. You know what I mean? Right. You just can't do it. You can try, and it might work out, but it's too mentally tough to fight with a body part that could pop out real easy. You know what I mean? But
I can't imagine. Yeah.
But so then I really was down in the dumps. 2010, the last fight. And then, I did pick up the bottle again. I started drinking pretty heavily. I got a call from BJ Penn asking me if I could come coach on the team. And, quite honestly, I was a mess. You know what I mean? I had a fake hip and shit, man. I was probably 280 pounds. You know what I mean? But
wow.
270, whatever. But, I told him I could do it. I decided to go to Vegas to get sober. You know what I mean? Who goes to Vegas to get sober? Well, I did. I went out there, and all I know is I went out there for 10 weeks. I stayed sober for 10 weeks, and I met some damn good friends. We had BJ Penn, Jason Perillo, John Hackleman. We had the best coaching staff ever. And BJ Penn, well, that's just my opinion, of course. But
those are all rock stars.
So we get there, and we had to watch 16 fights. And out of those 16 fights, there was five Division I or Division II wrestlers that fought. So after the 16 fights, we got to pick our team from the 16 winners, and everybody, Hackleman and Perillo and myself, were in BJ's face, telling him who to pick, who we want.
Yeah.
I said, BJ, just give me a couple of them fucking wrestlers, man.
Right.
Give me a couple of them. I don't care who else.
Right.
And sure enough, Frank Yeager, his first pick, he took a wrestler, and right on through number 5, he took 5 wrestlers.
Oh man, come on, Frankie.
We got none, bro. We got none. And hey, I kind of knew our fate, and then it turned out to be one of the. We had nobody in the finals. I mean, the red team dominated, but it was to get to coach those guys. That's my passion now. That's what gives me my high now is coaching other fighters. I mean, I'm right in the middle of coaching, but I got about 10 pros that I fight. AJ Dobson's got a big fight in Abu Dhabi 280 coming up here in 2 weeks. and just been all in for this camp, man. He's looking great. Matt Brown, I worked with him and about six to eight other guys, and any coach can fucking, plan a hard practice, but can you get it out of the guy? And that's one thing I think I'm the best at. I will get your last ounce out of you.
Oh, I believe
it. Deep water, brother. Get used to fighting in deep water.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, you're so mentally strong and you've been through so much that as a motivator, I can't imagine like you wouldn't rise to that occasion or try your best. I can't imagine. I know we're coming up a little on time, but I wanted to kind of give you one more opportunity. You're walking the life of sobriety. You've made a lot of changes and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of advice to people who are either struggling or also being, living a day to day, or also who chose that path or are thinking about it?
Oh yeah. Hold on here.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going on about 1 year, 6 months, year and a half, October 22nd. Oh. And sober. A year and a half ago, it wasn't a good sight, man. I wasn't doing so well. But I had a good friend, Wes Sims.
Yeah.
He had the courage to, I was hanging out by myself, man. When, all I cared about was getting my next beer, man. I wasn't happy, but he convinced me to give this rehabilitation a try. And it's the best decision I've ever made in my life, because they helped me save my life, but I saved my life. I saved my life. They taught me how to do it. And I now have peace that I've never had in my life. I accept all the resentments I had that for some reason, maybe I wanted more. Why didn't I win the Olympics? Why didn't I win this? Why didn't this happen for me? It just wasn't supposed to happen, Coleman. I accept everything. And now I am I've had such a blessed life. I am so grateful, and drinking is just not an option. And life is they say it's going to be better. You sit there and as an alcoholic, you sit there and you wonder how boring life's going to be without my booze. How boring. What am I going to do? Well, trust me. I said the same things, but you do the same things you did with booze, only you don't have the booze. Right. You stay away from them places. And you actually remember everything that went on, and you remember your kids. Your kids are happy with you. Your kids are so proud of you now. And I didn't know what I was going to do, because all I ever want to do is make people proud of me. But the way I made people proud was, okay, I got to win this fight, then they'll be proud of me. No, just be a good person. I didn't know how many people really knew how bad it was. Alcoholics don't know that. Everybody knows. When they said my name, they probably didn't say UFC champion. They probably said alcoholic drunk. So when I realized that, I still want to make my mom and dad happy. I want to make my kids proud. Yeah, everybody. But they are so much more proud of me now than any stupid fight I won. Now, it wasn't a stupid fight. It was a big fight, but I realized that being the toughest man in the world, it's not that important. It really isn't. It was cool as can be. I did it, but I don't have to be the toughest man in the world anymore.
Right.
And now I just want to be nice, be kind, and I'm all about helping other alcoholics, because it is quite a big fraternity family. When I checked into that rehab, I checked in there with average, normal people. I didn't go to no celebrity shit. I went into an average place, and let's say there was 20 people in there. I knew immediately. I wasn't one of those guys that went in there and said, I don't belong here. I'm not like these people. I knew we all had something in common immediately, and it was the greatest. I told them I would stay for 30 days, and then I ended up staying for 5 months, because I was in there for 5 months, and Quite honestly, I'm a counselor now.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I learned so it was like going to college, only learning how to live.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not that hard. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Well, man,
I have peace now.
Well, you have so much to give. So it's amazing to hear that you're doing that, counseling other people. Yeah. I mean, and you were, it's the same, the toughest man in the world, like that doesn't really change, that doesn't go away. And the fact that you're able to give and help people like this, you can help save lives,
Yeah.
or just being there for somebody who's helping themselves. It's a lonely walk, and just to be there to say, I got your back, or you're not alone, can save someone's life too,
I still stay in touch with a lot of people that I was in that rehab with me because, my mind was, it was a horrible fog for probably 10 years. After my fight career ended, I was whatever. I just was not happy. Mm-hmm. And I drank myself. And I did my best in the real world. I still was a dad, and I still did what I could, but it just didn't mean enough. I just had to accept it that I had just surrendered, man. I'm powerless over alcohol, and it's not an option right now. And I'm so at peace. I'm so happy. Mm-hmm. Yes. What can you do? Well, you can go to the gym sober, Coleman.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, you don't make a joke about it, but yes.
Yeah.
And now when the cops pull up behind me, I'm not scared all the time.
Right. No kidding. Yeah. No, it's inspiring. It's such an inspiring message. And again, man, this the reasons you inspired me 20 years ago are so different than they are now, but like they mean more to me now. It's crazy. This has been an honor. Again, I really do appreciate. I want to give you just one last opportunity. Any shout outs or thank yous or anything you'd like to say, anyone, before we go and wrap up?
Oh man, I'm good. Thank everybody. I mean, that's it. Yeah. I appreciate my fan base. I appreciate the support. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to tell people I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I do post about it. It takes courage to post about it, but I have courage, and I'm not afraid. And I know how many millions upon millions, we're talking hundreds of millions of people have these problems. So I'm not alone, man. I got a lot of friends that, and I understand it's one day at a time. I wake up every morning and I thank the Lord that I'm sober, but I'm always going to think about it. But I have skill now to know it's just not an option.
Yeah. Yeah. And it changed your life. Here you are, a year and a half later. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you again, Mark. Again, this is the 100th episode, and I couldn't be more honored. Thank you so much for finding time, making this happen. True story, John Gibson and Mark Coleman.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.